brought me here for droids. No, you can't ride on one. But I think we can put these guys to work. Come with me. No, you can't keep them. This is the way.
Good morning. Thanks you for joining us today. And if you ever wondered what it's like to work at Disney, it was just like that every day.
It's a pretty good gig. It's a pretty good gig. Alan, it's great to have you here, first of all. I was at this conference 2 years ago. I think I was actually in this very same room. Some of you may have been here. Was anybody here a couple years ago? All right, it's good to have a good crowd back. Well, listen, I had such a good time, Alan. I came back and I said, you've got to come. You want to come to South by Southwest?
And of course I said yes. We're really proud of the creative collaboration we have at Disney, and it starts with great storytelling. We work with the best storytellers to dream up new worlds full of heart, fun, and imagination.
Yep, and then what we do is we invite you all to explore these worlds in so many different ways. We do it in theaters, or we do it on your television at home. Sometimes we go to Broadway. We do it around the world. We've got 12 theme parks. 12 theme parks. We have sailing ships on the open seas. We have the Disney Cruise Line. We do this through games. We do it through books. We do it through toys, and even well beyond that.
We truly have something for everyone with so many ways to experience it. This helps us have strong connections with our audience, which is so unique to Disney.
Right, and then these connections, they're powered by cutting-edge technology. And we're constantly developing new tools that allow us to tell our stories in even more compelling ways. In a seamless blend of art and science, we take directly from our founder. Our founder's Walt Disney. He was our original visionary and innovator. Now, this quote from Walt, I think it really says it all. I can never stand still. I must explore and experiment, and I resent the limitations of my own imagination. And I think there's something very South by Southwest about that. I appreciate Walt's sentiment because it speaks to his passionate curiosity. And that's something he passed on to the generations of storytellers in our company who followed him.
I love that Walt quote. It's hard to believe that just a few years ago, Disney celebrated its 100th anniversary. It's a powerful legacy that we're fortunate to be part of.
And now this year, we're getting ready to hit another major milestone. This is the 70th anniversary of the Disneyland Resorts, the theme park that literally changed the world. And it's a place that's near and dear to both of us personally.
And Josh knows this. I grew up near Disneyland, and this is going to make me sound very old, but I've been going to that park for over 50 years. And it's been amazing to see it grow and change during that time, with the addition of Pixar, the Avengers, Star Wars, and in the future, Avatar.
Yeah, there's been a lot that's been added. I visited Disneyland for the first time when I was just 10 years old. And then all these years later, Alan, I'm not going to say how many years later that is, I can still remember what it felt like to be there with my family the first time. Disneyland is an incredibly special place. It's our original park, and it's the only one that Walt physically walked through during his life. When he began working on this new venture in the early 50s, there really wasn't anything quite like it at this point. So to turn this dream into reality, he went to the people that he trusted most. He went to his storytellers.
And he reassigned a small group of animators from the movie studio to design this new experience and bring these stories to life in whole new ways.
Yeah, eventually he coined a new term for these creative geniuses. He called them Imagineers. They've been turning Disney stories into real places for decades now. And now, as we honor Walt's original park, we're also looking to the future of what a Disney experience can be. Right now, we are in an era of unprecedented growth. We're creating new lands, new attractions, new shows, ships, games, and more that will reach Disney fans all around the globe.
And the key to all of this is the partnership we have with both of our teams. And we start that collaboration very early on. Our filmmakers and Imagineers then connect throughout the process to bring these stories from the screen into the real world in innovative and surprising ways. And one of my favorite parts of my job is joining Josh and his team early in those concept meetings where we get to see our stories and characters take on a whole new life.
And then sometimes that scene, it flips around when our experiences inspire new studio projects as well. So Pirates of the Caribbean, this is a great example of that. This is a story that actually started in the parks, it then traveled to the big screen, and then back to the parks again. So this creative collaboration, it's happening on a continual basis within our company, which is why today we've invited some of our friends from our Disney studios and from Walt Disney Imagineering to show you how we work together to build these incredible new worlds. Because a Disney story, it does not end when the credits roll on a film or when you walk out of the front of one of our parks. They keep growing and they keep evolving.
Now let's dive a little deeper into these worlds, or in this case, galaxy. Now, Josh, I know we're both huge Star Wars fans, and it's clearly one of the greatest franchises in the world.
Yeah, we're proud to be part of the incredible group of Star Wars storytellers all throughout Disney.
My job is to play with Star Wars toys on film sets.
And I'm Asa.
And I'm Leslie, and we get to play with Star Wars toys in our parks around the world, like our BDX droids here. All right, hey, let's power down for a minute. Let's keep it calm. Okay. So these droids are inspired by the droids in our Star Wars films, TV shows, games, comics, and more. I'm sure we have some Star Wars fans in here, right?
So when we're making the Star Wars movies and TV shows, we use special effects, we use CGI, we even use animatronics that were originally developed for the parks, for Grogu, for Baby Yoda. But we use technology to create illusions, but the Imagineers, they get to make this stuff for real.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working in robotics at Imagineering, since the very beginning. Walt really saw this technology as a cool way to bring characters to life. Think Tiki Birds, Abraham Lincoln. It's a small world, but obviously today the technology has really come incredibly far.
It's true. Traditionally, our robots, what we would call audio animatronic figures, are secured in place as part of a larger attraction. But as you can see, our BDX droids are different. They are walking around. They're exploring our environment. They're interacting with our guests and with each other. And to make this happen, we've done a lot of work with reinforcement learning, pushing this key technology a few steps further. So first, we build digital versions of these droids and we set them loose in a virtual environment, thousands of them at a time, like you can see on the screen here. They learn, they experiment, they teach each other, and they figure out how to navigate different kinds of terrain.
Yeah, because these are really animated characters in real life, right? But they have to obey the laws of physics, so they got to do things like adjust the center of their mass to make sure that they can stay balanced on two legs, and sometimes they stumble and they have to catch themselves to stay upright, just like a human does. But it's all of these little tiny imperfections that give the character so much more life, makes it feel so much richer. And this is really a totally different technical problem than maybe like a factory automation robot, right? This is all about how we imbue this sense of emotion and character and life. And it's really the subtle nuances that our animators bring to these characters to life.
Yeah, that's right. When we're training in simulation, we're not just teaching them how to balance, we're teaching them how to learn to walk as characters and imitate those core animations that really give them their personality. That's right. And then after that, the next step is going from simulation to the real thing, and these characters really come to life.
So similar to the process that we use on The Mandalorian, where we use game engine technology, VR, previs, we would use all of that to walk through the scenes ahead of time, figure out what visual effects we wanted to put up in the volume wall. It created a much more efficient and productive creative process before we ever hit the film set. So it's kind of similar to what the Imagineering process is, where they do a lot of prep work before the actual performance. In their case, though, the performance is with real people in real life at the parks.
Yeah, and I mean, our physical builds are getting more streamlined too. We're using the latest advancements in electric actuators, lightweight materials, and 3D printing, so we can build these droids much faster than we've been able to do before. But maybe you're wondering what happens if one of these guys needs, a little tune-up.
Well, we have that covered. In fact, one of our droids needed a few repairs, so we brought some along to help them work through the. Oh, actually, I think there he is right now.
No good. No good.
Remember, there he is. So these are the Enzellans, right? And J.J. Abrams first came up with them for the Rise of Skywalker. We used them in the Mandalorian show. They're going to be in the new film, The Mandalorian Grogu, and they specialize in droid repair. And this little guy's name is Otto.
Yeah.
Is that him? Yeah. So Otto, he's a little bit obstinate from what I heard. Yeah.
Whoa, 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 what language? This is a family show. Oh my gosh. Oh, I got one running here. So as you can see, our droids are always on the go, which is why I'm so thrilled to share that later this year, they'll make visits to Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, and Walt Disney World. So be on the lookout. All right, everybody, time to go. Let's move it. Hey, you too.
See you
go.
guys.
Come on, guys.
Gotta go, guys. Everybody, give it up for Leslie and our BDX droids.
So, thank you guys. So when you work at Disney, you get to go to Imagineering, and there's like a little laboratory where they're working on all the top secret stuff. And I saw the demos of this, and everything that you saw here. It amazed me, really, because on the one hand, there's a lot of reinforcement learning, as you said, teaching them all the physics. But what I really like, since the beginning of the way technology was used at Disneyland, is there's this storytelling and human performance and puppeteering behind it. And so it's still keeping that human storytelling alive, which I think is what I connect with most at Disneyland. And we're going to be working together on other things too, right? So we have, sorry. We're going to be working with them again because as I visited the Imagineering and saw them, I thought there was a great opportunity to use them, not just in the parks, but in the movie. So we brought some photos here from the film set of Mandalorian Grogu. So there they are on the set. They're great performers. They were wonderful, and they fit completely in the world of the filmed entertainment as well as they do at the parks at like Galaxy's Edge. Now, taking Mando and Grogu from TV to the movies and taking it from the movies to the parks is part of the fun of working with a company like Disney where all of these different departments interface.
Yeah, and we're super excited that we're going to be updating Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, both at Disneyland and Walt Disney World, with a brand new mission inspired by your characters, Mando and Grogu. And for any of you who haven't had the opportunity to ride this attraction, you get to step into the most iconic ship in the galaxy, go into that cockpit, strap in, and get to crew the ship on an amazing adventure. And we're really excited to now being able to tell a brand new story built around these characters.
And it's going to debut at the same weekend that the film does, which is Memorial Day 2026.
Yeah, and this really all goes back to what Alan and Josh were just talking about, the incredible collaboration between our teams. I mean, opening an attraction in such a big movie like this on the same day really wouldn't be impossible without the incredible relationship that we have at Disney. And, John and Dave Filoni have shared their story of the film with us, and we've all worked together on a brand new mission for Smugglers Run that really sort of hooks into this narrative. But we've also had the incredible opportunity to work with the amazing artists at ILM and the Lucasfilm Art Department to start to work on the look and feel of what we think this new mission might want to be like.
And because a lot of these, the technology is shared, and we create a lot of the environments at ILM using Unreal Engine, we were able to send Mando and Grogu to some classic locations from the Star Wars universe, and we have some cool concept art now to show, to give you a little sneak peek of what Smugglers Run is going to feature.
Yeah, so here's a shot of the iconic desert planet Tatooine, one of the many locations we're going to have an opportunity to visit. We also have an incredible piece that gives a small hint at Cloud City on the planet Bespin, another Star Wars classic. And then lastly, I think maybe one of my favorite pieces is a sneak peek at what it might be like to revisit the wreckage of the second Death Star in orbit around the planet Endor. And so it's not just the amazing art department that we're working with, but we're also working with ILM Immersive on the gameplay. This is a fully interactive experience where guests are really in control of their own destiny. And what makes that all possible is that the entire experience is built on Unreal Engine 5 by Epic Games. And that's what's going to enable this incredible on-ride experience.
And because we use the same tools, The Mandalorian, we use Unreal for previs. We also use it for those of you who see the behind-the-scenes stuff on the show. We actually have in-camera visual effects where we generate the backgrounds and tie it to the parallax of the camera and put it on the volume wall. And integrating all of what we've been working on with what Asa and the Imagineers are doing, we're going to bring all that together for Smugglers Run.
Yeah, it's really cool. Having this workflow allows us to go into that amazing asset library that ILM has created for films and TV shows and borrow characters, borrow ships, borrow environmental scenery, really to help create the most authentic experience possible.
And it's also Unreal's also playing a role in the next big project that Disney's doing, a whole new online universe that they're creating with Epic Games.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a totally incredible new way for us to be able to tell stories. So imagine, what if you could go to the park and have an experience in Smugglers Run, go on this amazing mission, but then have that affect or connect your gameplay at home?
I think the name of this panel is Building World,
yeah.
World Building, and that's storytelling really is about world building, and that's what I reacted to most as a kid in the Star Wars universe, and to be able to also take the opportunities that the parks offer, and now these new technologies where people can gather online and have immersive experiences in gaming along with the partners that you mentioned. To me as a storyteller, it's so wonderful to be working in one area and realize that you have so many other different departments that are all working towards the same goal, and then collaborating early on so that you could try to do things in a new way while still delivering the classic experience on the big screen. And it's just been a lot of fun collaborating with all of you and with the Imagineers. And I got to say, I still, as much as I like going into the parks, I feel like a kid. I love seeing backstage, and I love all of this stuff. You realize that there's a lot of technology, but at its heart, these are all people who have passion for storytelling. And I think that that's what draws us all together and allows us to collaborate.
We're incredibly grateful for the partnership, and we will obviously be back later to tell you more about future developments of this incredible collaboration.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much. This has been really great.
And thank you, by the way, thank you, Austin, South by Southwest. Chef premiered here. It has just a warm place in my heart. I love the food. I love the town. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for hosting us.
Thank you.
The team at Pixar has been dreaming up iconic worlds for almost 40 years. They're home to some of the biggest animated films ever released, including last year's Inside Out 2. And 11 of their films have won the Oscar for Best Animated Films. Now, we've been working with Pixar since their earliest days, and they became part of the Disney family in 2006. That was the same year we released the first Cars film, and a few years later, we unveiled Cars Land at Disney's California Adventure. I'll never forget the first time I saw it completed. It was like walking into the movie. And since then, the Imagineers have brought a number of Pixar movies to our parks, including The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, and Toy Story. And they have so much more in store. Here to talk about Pixar's future in our parks, please welcome from Walt Disney Imagineering, Michael Hungen, and Pixar's Chief Creative Officer, Pete Docter.
Thanks, Alan. It's great to be here.
And hello, South by Southwest. How are we doing?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, as Alan said, we at Pixar have been working with the Imagineers for a long time on creating these incredible experiences all over the world. We're such fans of the parks. We even kind of use it as a test for ourselves as we're coming up with the sets and environments. We kind of ask ourselves, is this somewhere I'd want to go if they built it at Disneyland? And not that we expect you guys to build everything that we
try.
although, you know, you could consider that. It's just a suggestion. It really does help us remember that the worlds that we're building need to feel like somewhere that you'd want to hang out and go to. And there's a lot of keys to that. But one thing we rely on a lot at Pixar, and I know you do as well, is specificity. Getting to know all the little details and getting those right. That's how we build authenticity into our worlds. It really has to feel real, because that's what allows you to believe in the story, which brings me to Michael here, because those little details are important, even more so when you're building a physical place like a theme park attraction.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Pete. You know, when our guests enter our spaces, their eyes are the camera, and they can point those cameras in any direction. So everything they see has to contribute to the experience and the story.
Yeah, and that is a real big difference between our two jobs. I realized early on in our films, we get to control where you look. You know, we can spend more time on the stuff that gets a close-up, and we can kind of leave the background stuff more rough. But at the parks, everything could be a close-up, and so you really got to get it right. That was one of the things I picked up on even when I was young, visiting Disneyland as a kid. I grew up in Minnesota, and my grandparents lived in California, so we would drive out every summer, and the highlight was always a visit to Disneyland. You'd think maybe that a kid's favorite would be something like the Matterhorn, something thrilling. For me, it was the Tiki Room. Couldn't get enough of the talking birds. I still love it. Yeah, Tiki Room fans, yeah. So as a kid, I was already into puppets. Coming back from California, I bought an air compressor, so that you can tell I was a pretty cool, popular kid. I tried to recreate the Tiki Room in my bedroom. My parents thought I was kind of going crazy, but I just love the feeling that you get at Disneyland. You know that it's not real, but you totally believe it, you know? And Disneyland is a big part of why I got into this, what I'm doing today.
Well, making the imaginary feel real is exactly what we're doing right now. And we've got two amazing Pixar projects in the works for Walt Disney World in Florida. So why don't we start at Hollywood Studios, where we are creating our very first land inspired by Monsters, Inc., which is a film you know a little something about, right, Pete?
Yeah, this is one I'm excited about. Monsters was the first feature I directed at Pixar. Came out about 25 years ago, and even today, yeah. It's wild. People will come up to me and go like, I grew up on that film, and now I'm raising my kids. And I'm like, great, you just made me feel old. But it's really cool. It's multi-generational, and that's really exciting.
And that's why we're inviting guests to visit Monstropolis. It's the perfect fit for our theme parks. And we're creating something that everybody in the family can enjoy. And that includes this brand new signature attraction. It's a thrilling roller coaster ride through the iconic Monsters, Inc. door vault.
Yeah, no, so that's one of my favorite scenes from the film, you know, the bit where Mike, Sully, and Boo go racing through the vault to find Boo's door. And I swear to you, here's how it went. So we were like, okay, if monsters have access to kids' rooms through the closets, where do they store them all? Well, maybe there's some giant vaults. Yeah, that's good. And what if there's like an overhead track that delivers them? Great. You know what? That would make a great Disneyland ride. It was like that quick.
And the good news is we thought the exact same thing. So Imagineers have been itching to turn that very moment into an attraction ever since we all saw it for the first time.
Yeah, and just like we at Pixar try many versions of the movie, of the script really, before we do the movie, I know you folks at Imagineering kind of previs a lot and try different versions, and I can tell you this is worth the wait. What you're going to see here, you remember how the doors in the door vault, scare floor, they attach the doors to these machines that then whiz them off into the vault. This scene is one of our favorites.
And that's the scene that we're actually going to bring to life. And when we turn that experience into a ride, we can't use the traditional lift hill where you kind of click and clack up an incline. It's not going to cut it. So that's why we're going to do this. That's an automatic of our coaster's load station. Now, our coaster is a suspended coaster, and you'll actually hang below the track. And then, just like the doors in the movie, the train will lift straight up into the air before zooming off into that iconic vault.
Cool.
We have never done anything like this before. It's Disney's first suspended coaster. It's our first vertical lift. And we're designing this experience to be as memorable and as fun as the film itself. So we're just so excited.
Well, I can tell you, everybody at Pixar is really jazzed about this. It's like a dream come true. Yeah.
We're super excited too, but that's not the only Pixar story we're working on at Walt Disney World. We also have a big new Cars attraction on its way to the Magic Kingdom. Now, I have a special place in my heart for Cars. The first film was released this summer. I took that quintessential cross-country trip down Route 66 to chase my career dreams in Los Angeles with that super cool Mitsubishi Eclipse. What a car, right? Now, those same themes of adventure and exploration are all going to be woven into this new Frontierland attraction.
I got to say, one of the best parts of bringing our movies into the parks is that we get to expand. We're not just going to retell the story. We get to take these characters somewhere new.
And in this new Cars attraction, we're doing just that. We're leaving Radiator Springs in the rear view mirror, and we're going to follow Lightning, Mater, and all their friends out into the frontier for an off-road rally race. And when we're designing our attractions, our primary goal is to create an emotional experience for the guests, just like the filmmakers do on the screen. So for this Cars attraction, we need to invent a new type of ride vehicle that can create that feeling. And you can't build these in a factory. They don't come off a line. We have to do so much more because they have to carry you from one place to another.
Because this isn't Lightning McQueen on a Piston Cup speedway, it's more like Midnight Run with Smokey through the wilderness of Cars 3. That meant the Imagineers had to figure out a way to put our characters in a space they've never experienced before on screen, racing over rocky terrain, ascending mountain peaks, dodging geysers. So what does that feel like?
Well, to start figuring that out, we actually went out to the desert in Arizona, and we rented some off-road vehicles, and we started riding on a bunch of different trails. We wanted to feel what it's like to travel across this type of terrain. What feels fun, and just as important, what doesn't. We are literally getting a lay of the land to bring that authenticity into the story itself.
Yeah, they also used this trip as a way to show those of us at Pixar who didn't get to go on that trip, not that we're jealous or anything, it's cool, it's cool. They used it to show the kind of experience that they wanted to create. And that allowed our whole team to start thinking about how we can put that special Cars spin on it.
And then we took everything that we learned in Arizona and we worked with a motocross company to build a custom dirt track with a geometry similar to what we saw on the trails. So what you're seeing here, this is not our final layout, but it helps us think about the combination of elements that we're considering for the attraction. The bumps, the turns, the dips, everything that has to go into making an authentic off-road rally race track. And now that we have all that data collected and an idea of the kind of experience that we want to deliver, we get to finally start working on the attraction vehicle. So here is an early look at the model. Think of this as more of a three-dimensional sketch we use as a proof of concept. We want these things to feel like they jumped right out of the screen of the world of Cars.
I mean, Lightning and Mater will be there for sure. Here's some sketches of some of the other characters you may meet. We at Pixar are working with Imagineering to create new race car personalities for this attraction, so it's going to be great.
And then once we build the real things, these things have to be tough. The workload on our ride vehicles far exceeds a normal car. I mean, think about it. They have to run 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for decades. So if your car does about 13,000 miles in a year, ours can go up to 65,000 miles every year, depending on the attraction. And on top of that, we're running it on this really rough terrain.
Sounds like commuting in Los Angeles.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. Our next mock-up was to put a test car with customized suspension out on the dirt track. And this helps us figure out how we're going to build the suspension for the actual attraction vehicles. All these tests allow us to know how they're going to react to the terrain and how we turn that feeling that we want to create into real-world engineering. And so now we're taking all of that input and we're actually about to go out and build the ride vehicle. It is such a great and exciting time for us.
So speaking as someone who built robotic puppet birds in his bedroom as a kid, it is such a thrill to be part of this. It's like I said at the beginning, specificity is key, and you can see the level of detail the Imagineers are going for here. Now imagine that applying to everything, every part of the attraction. That is the goal. That's the standard that you guys set. And we're proud to work alongside Imagineering for these many years to really try to bring our movies out there into authentic Pixar experiences.
We are so lucky to work with all of you at Pixar and grateful for the partnership. And we can't wait to share more about all this great work coming to Walt Disney World in the future. So thank you for having us and thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Southwest.
Whether springing from comic book pages or bursting off movie screens and television screens, the Avengers have been capturing the imagination of fans worldwide for more than 60 years now. Recently, we've brought Earth's mightiest heroes to life in all new ways at Disney parks. From California to Paris, Hong Kong, all the way to Shanghai, we tell heroic new stories with the characters that fans love so much. Now, I've had the privilege of working on several of these projects with our Imagineering team. And it was during the development of our original Avengers campus for Disney California Adventure that I had, I think, one of the most memorable meetings of my whole career. Now, I've told this story before because it's one of my absolute favorites. The Imagineers, they pitched me an idea to launch a robot 60 feet up into the air, no wires, no strings to attach, and then they were going to catch it in a net so that it would look like the real Spider-Man was actually swinging through the land. Now, we'd never done anything like this before, not even close. But we went with the idea because it would present that iconic character in such an authentic way. And it turned out absolutely great. As you can see, it really does feel like Spidey is swinging through the land. Now, spoiler alert, we've got a lot more in store for Avengers Campus in California. And here to tell you more, please welcome the President and Chief Creative Officer for Walt Disney Imagineering, Bruce Vaughn, and the President of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige.
You know, just like my colleagues at the other studios, I'm a giant Disney Parks fan. I've always been drawn to the places that showcase Walt's vision for the future, particularly Tomorrowland and Epcot. They share a mid-century retro-futuristic design language that I love, and I love it so much, in fact, that it served as an inspiration for our new film coming out this summer, The Fantastic Four: First Steps. Hold for applause. And obviously you can see that reflected in these concepts from the film.
Yes, absolutely, Kevin. And that's why I'm so excited to tell you you'll soon be able to meet all the Fantastic Four at Tomorrowland at Disneyland this summer when the movie comes out.
We hold for applause. We're also working with Bruce and Imagineering to create a Herbie robot that you'll be able to see in real life. There were 5 of them just here, but we have one too that's coming soon.
That's right, and he is going to be amazing. It's a little tough with all the balancing, but anyway, we've got some other cool plans that we're going to announce later this spring. And I mean, this is what is so great about our teams collaborating the way they do. We're always coming up with crazy ideas that we know our guests will love.
It's that kind of thinking that spurred us to create not one, but 2 Avengers campuses, the first one in California, second one in Paris. And I've been so impressed with how the Imagineers infuse them with the personality of all of our characters, whether that's helping the Guardians of the Galaxy escape the Collector in California, or taking flight with Captain Marvel and Iron Man in Paris, or fighting alongside Ant-Man and the Wasp in Hong Kong.
Indeed. And now we're about to do even more. We recently broke ground on a massive expansion for our Avengers campus at California Adventure, where we are doubling the size of the land with 2 new incredible attractions. First, in Avengers Infinity Defense, you'll assemble with the Avengers to battle King Thanos himself across multiple worlds. And our guests will also be joining Black Panther, Ant-Man, Hulk, and many of our other favorite Avengers to save the universe once again.
It is, I think, by far the largest collections of heroes we've ever put into one attraction. And as Bruce said, it all leads up to a huge battle with King Thanos. I think you guys are going to love it.
Yes, and from what I've seen so far in development, it's already amazing. Yeah. Our second attraction is called Stark Flight Lab. Here, we're taking you inside Tony Stark's workshop to experience some of the new tech he's been developing. Now, Kevin, we're bringing some powerful personalities to life in these attractions. So as you know, it's very important we get the tone just right.
Who better to get the tone just right than the man who helped bring Tony Stark to life, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Downey Jr.
What's up? I got to tell you, I'm digging this wild blend of art, science, and culture that South by Southwest has become. This joint is jumping. This is a place to be. Woo!
Robert, it's always good to see you, and this time we didn't even make you wear a mask.
Oh, yeah, right? I'd happily have obliged. I couldn't be more excited by the upcoming gig.
Yes.
New mask, same task, a little Doom action, but we're not here to talk about that today. I'm counting down the days to 2028, which will be the 20th anniversary of the MCU, which he created with my serious assistance.
Well, Iron Man in 2008, the film that started it all, and that movie and your performance as Tony Stark set the path for our entire cinematic universe. And from that earliest screen test all the way through to his final scene, 10 different movies, 11 years. What's been fascinating is not just how he's defined the character, but to see the impact Tony has had on you.
Oh my God, well, it is the gift that keeps on giving. It's 17 years of being associated with an iconic superhero, but you know, it's the message he represents that's what I'm grateful for, because Tony opened my eyes wider to the power technology has to impact the world for good, and that's something I'll carry with me the rest of my days. So thank y'all for making it happen. Well, I gotta kiss one more baby. Someone give me a baby. Oh my God, so good. Okay, and shaking hands, and shaking babies and kissing hands.
Okay. Okay, well, Robert, look, all of this is why it's so great to have your perspective with us as we create the new Avengers attractions. Now, of course, we're thrilled that you're going to be reprising your role as Tony Stark in these experiences, which is pretty cool. But what all these folks don't know is that we've invited you into Imagineering to work with us.
Yeah.
No one knows the authenticity better than you of what these attractions will bring, and we need your help.
Well, you know, but what I didn't know was how stealth and exclusive the WDI, Walt Disney Imagineering HQ was. You want to talk about a closed set? It's the Area 51 of fun. That's how I describe it.
True, it's 100% true.
You would know. And what I witnessed when I got a look behind the curtain, dear me, the Imagineers are the living embodiment of the Stark Enterprises mission statement, the curiosity, the passion, the inventiveness, the occasional flair for the dramatic. Most of all, it's a drive to put something good out into the world to make life better, at a minimum, more fun by a mile. It's the privilege of a lifetime to be invited to participate. So thanks, Bruce.
Well, look, it's great having you on board. Actually, it's essential because, quite frankly, Stark Flight Lab is more about Tony the inventor than it is Iron Man the superhero. The fact is, we're taking our guests inside Tony's workshop, filled with cutting-edge technology, of course, and we're developing it in ways we never have before. For instance, you're going to sit in something we're calling a gyrokinetic pod.
Now, that's a term only a lawyer could love.
Yes, indeed. And in this pod, you'll roll along a track as the experience begins, eventually stopping in front of a massive robot arm. The arm reaches down, grabs the pod, lifts you off the track, where you'll make several high-speed maneuvers inspired by Iron Man and maybe some of the other Avengers.
Yes, that I will select based on merit and whomever picks up my FaceTime calls on the first ring.
I've learned that about you. Okay. So after your flight, the arm sets you back on the track, and you zip off again to go back into the park. Now, let me tell you, transferring from a track to a robot arm, and then back again with humans in a pod. We've never done anything like this before, and that's why we're so excited about it.
And from what you guys have shared with us, what you've seen here, it's as fun to watch this as it is to ride it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Usually we kind of hide the tech behind the scenes because we want you to be immersed in the story, but the fact is the story is about the tech in this case.
Oh, wow. You want to roll down to my next line? Can you believe this? I mean, I'm up here. It's like, just wait. We'll talk later.
In fact, we recently, to achieve this, we brought in some dancers and choreographers into our studio to help us imagine how this kind of line of robots could come to life. So we're using motion capture cameras to create a virtual mirror for our dancers so they could see themselves and how the robots would move. As they made these motions, they could see themselves, and also we were able to take that data, which looks kind of crazy right here, but it was incredibly helpful to us. We took that data and we actually put it into the format of the robots, which allows us to put what we call the emotion into the motion. And obviously, we'll go to any lengths to achieve this. We've already started incorporating some of these movements into our early ride mockups. There's a long way to go, but we want to make these robots feel as lifelike as possible, just like Tony's.
Yeah, and honestly, from what I've seen, you're well on the way. It's like next level future tech made real. That's why even after we finish with Flight Lab, I want to stay involved for the long haul. I want to be part of the future that Bruce is building at Imagineering. So this isn't a one-time deal. And I say this with all the humility I can muster. You need more me.
Well, I agree. And fortunately, I think we know some people who can help make that happen.
Josh and Alan, here it comes.
You don't have to ask us twice.
Oh, good.
Anytime you want to come over to Imagineering, you are welcome. Tony Stark lives on forever with us.
Fantastic. So that is verbal confirmation. It's binding.
I heard it.
I thank you for stating it with 2,000 witnesses.
I heard it.
Robert, Kevin, Bruce, you guys are the epitome of storytelling and innovation. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks to everyone
baby.
today.
Someone give me a baby. Oh, it's so cute. Look at that. Okay, bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for being here, everybody.